Joining us now from Boulder, Governor Jared Polis. Welcome back to Fox News Sunday, Governor.
Good morning, Shannon.
Okay, this is what you've recently signed into law, the Reproductive Health Equity Act. It states simply, a pregnant individual has a fundamental right to continue the pregnancy and give birth or to have an abortion. I don't see any structures related to weeks or trimesters. Does that mean in Colorado now there is a right to abortion up to birth?
What we did here is we preserved essentially the Roe versus Wade protection in Colorado, because fundamentally, Shannon, what we believe is this is not about the government making that decision. It's about women making that decision. And to sort of win this battle, it's about the hearts and minds of women, not the laws of man.
Is there a limit on abortion up through 9 months in Colorado?
It's the same as it has been the last several decades. People face gut-wrenching decisions every day, whether it's rape or incest, often having to choose between the life of the mother or child. For the government to insert itself in that conversation between a doctor and a woman, a faith leader and a woman, is simply wrong. I think we need to approach this a different way. I think there's a lot of common ground around reducing unwanted pregnancies, empowering women and men with birth control, and really generating a culture of responsibility about what it means to be a parent.
Okay, and I will take that as a yes, that there is an option for abortion up to birth. Let's talk about that, because when AP polled specifically by trimester frameworks and they asked people, should it be legal or illegal, at 80%, when we get into the third trimester, people say it should be usually illegal. Even the New York Times noted in an article updated this May, the United States is one of just over a dozen countries that allow abortions for any reason beyond 15 weeks of pregnancy. The Times goes on to note that includes North Korea and China. Is that the company that Coloradans want to be in?
So this was on the ballot in Colorado just a year and a half ago, overwhelmingly rejected, banning third trimester abortions. And that's because, you know, people know how painstaking and difficult that is. When you know that, you know, you might be near birth and you find out your baby doesn't have lungs and won't live for more than a few minutes outside of the womb. I mean, this is a really difficult thing that women face. And the right answer is, of course, to make sure that we trust people to make that decision, and people have the freedom to do that. We don't say big government's going to insert itself and tell them how to handle something that sadly really doesn't have a right answer.
We asked simply, do people think that abortion should be legal or illegal? Just straight up question in our latest Fox News polling. 44% said legal. 54% said illegal. Now, that's the lowest number we've tracked for legal, and it's the first time illegal has polled above 50%. So there in Colorado, conservative leaders say these are the kind of numbers that are on their side. Jeff Hunt, director of the Centennial Institute, says, my contention is the trend is with us. We may lose the battles, but we will win the war in this state. They're already talking about ballot measures for 2024. Are you worried about your work being undone in coming elections?
Not particularly. It's been on the ballot, as I said, as recently as a year and a half ago. Voters agreed that the government should not interfere with this basic freedom, this basic decision. It really is in the realm of conscience. It's in the realm of how women understand that there's options. And by the way, that includes adoption. We implemented free preschool in Colorado. We're making daycare more affordable. We want to make sure people know about these things. And of course, we want to make sure that we can increase access to birth control and for both men and women, and really build that culture of responsibility and also understanding the importance of consent for both men and women to help reduce the number of unwanted pregnancies.
A federal law bans picketing and parades outside the homes of judges in the midst of making decisions for the intent of influencing them. The Washington Post has come out now against these pickets and demonstrations at Supreme Court justices' private homes. One of the top Democrats in the Senate, Dick Durbin, has done as well. What's your position on these demonstrations?
Well, I certainly don't think that they're effective in persuading judges. In fact, it might further alienate them from a particular cause to be that aggressive. I think our judges, the men and women on the Supreme Court, are really the embodiment of our highest and best judges, are very thoughtful about how they look at the information, they look at the record, they make a decision. I've read a number of their decisions over time, and I think we want to keep that in that intellectual realm rather than drag them further into the political political realm.
Let's talk about the economy, which continues to poll as the top concern for Americans across the board, across party lines, backgrounds, ages, all of that. There in Denver, specifically, they have got an inflationary pain that's above the national average, which is already pretty tough for folks. The seventh highest among U.S. metro areas. I want to take a look at some of the numbers that you're dealing with out there. Food prices up over 9%, utilities up over 17%, and housing about 8%. What more do you think the administration could be doing to deal with inflation?
Well, here we're focused on tax relief, fee relief. We cut property taxes by $750 million. Every Coloradan is going to get a $500 rebate check. What I think that Washington can focus on is, of course, fiscal responsibility, monetary policy. In addition to that, I'd like to see them drop some of the tariffs, which add an additional inflationary pressure for consumer products across the country.
During COVID, you were a bit of an outlier in that you took heat from the left, who thought you were a little bit too permissive when it came to things like masks and lockdowns and mandates. Do you regret any of the decisions that you made now that we're closing in on 1 million COVID deaths here in the U.S.?
You know, we value freedom in Colorado. We never sugarcoated it. We always gave people the best information we could about the importance of wearing a medical grade mask indoors around others. We did an enormous statewide vaccination campaign, and the risks are 10 times less if you're fully vaccinated. So again, it's been a difficult challenge everywhere. I think it's tragic that we've lost 1 million lives to this pandemic. But without being trusted purveyors of information and making that vaccine widely available, we'd be talking about several million people right now.
And Governor, I got to ask you something totally random. I saw when we were prepping for the show, you said this about the unsolved JonBenet Ramsey case from 1996 a few days ago. You said, I can say one thing, the killer of JonBenet Ramsey should not rest easily because I'm still optimistic that he or she will be apprehended with technology that exists today in 5 years or in 10 years. Do you think that case will ultimately be solved, Governor?
We've had several great cold case breakthroughs in Colorado successfully prosecuted with our Colorado Bureau of Investigations, and technology is emerging every day that can take existing evidence, analyze it in new ways. And I don't think anybody that committed a capital crime 10, 20, 30, 40 years ago should rest easy because technology is making improvements that makes it likely to be able to apprehend the suspect, and I'm very optimistic on that front.
Governor, on a wide array of topics, always a pleasure speaking with you. Thanks for being here today.
Thank you.